I'm a 31-year-old woman with a younger sister, Emma, who's 28. Our relationship has always been complicated, mainly because of Emma's impulsive decisions and our parents' tendency to rescue her from the consequences. This pattern started when we were kids and has continued into adulthood. Growing up, Emma was always the free spirit in the family. She had a knack for getting into trouble, whether it was sneaking out to parties in high school or skipping classes to hang out with her friends. Our parents would often cover for her, making excuses to teachers or grounding her for short periods before giving in to her pleas to go out again. On the other hand, I was expected to be the responsible one. I remember countless times when my parents would tell me, "You need to set a good example for your sister," or "Why can't Emma be more like you?" As we got older, the stakes got higher. Emma's impulsive behavior extended to her finances and life choices. She started college but quit after 2 semesters, claiming it wasn't for her. Our parents were disappointed but quickly moved on to supporting her next venture, a series of part-time jobs that never seemed to last more than a few months. Meanwhile, I was working hard to build my career. I graduated from college, got a stable job, and started saving for my future. But even as I was doing everything right, I couldn't help feeling frustrated by the constant comparisons and expectations placed on me. Emma's financial troubles really started to escalate in her early 20s. She got her first credit card and quickly maxed it out on a spontaneous trip to Europe with some friends. When she came back, she was in debt and without a job. Our parents paid off the credit card, lecturing her about responsibility but ultimately bailing her out. This became a pattern. Emma would get involved in what she thought was a great opportunity, a multi-level marketing scheme selling beauty products, an online course promising to teach her how to become a social media influencer, or a foolproof system for winning at online poker. Each time, she'd invest money she didn't have, and each time, she'd end up in debt. I tried to help where I could. When Emma was 25, she lost her job and couldn't pay her rent. Our parents were dealing with some financial issues of their own at the time, so I stepped in and covered her rent for 3 months. I also helped her create a budget and find a new job. But within 6 months, she was back to her old habits, and the budget was long forgotten. 2 years ago, Emma met Tyler at a music festival. They hit it off immediately, bonding over their love for indie bands and spontaneous adventures. Within a week, they were inseparable. 3 months later, they decided to move in together, despite barely knowing each other. Emma was ecstatic, convinced that Tyler was the one. At first, things seemed to be going well. Tyler had a decent job in marketing, and Emma had started working as a bartender. They were making ends meet, and Emma seemed happier than she had been in a long time. I was cautiously optimistic, hoping that maybe this relationship would be the turning point for her. However, about 6 months into their relationship, Tyler lost his job. He had a falling out with his boss and quit without having another job lined up. Emma supported his decision, saying he deserved better, but their financial situation quickly became precarious. They started relying heavily on credit cards to cover their expenses, and Emma began asking our parents for money more frequently. Despite their financial struggles, Emma and Tyler's relationship continued to grow stronger. They talked about their dreams of traveling the world together and starting their own business someday. I admired their optimism but couldn't help worrying about the practicality of their plans. A few months ago, Emma called me with exciting news: she and Tyler were engaged. They had decided to get married during a romantic weekend getaway, and Tyler had proposed with a ring he had bought on credit. I congratulated her but also expressed some concern about their financial situation. Emma brushed off my worries, assuring me that they had everything under control and that things would work out. Then, a few weeks ago, I received another call from Emma. This time, she wasn't just sharing news, she was asking for help. She and Tyler had started planning their wedding, and the costs were quickly adding up. Emma asked if I could help them pay for the wedding, reminding me of the times I had helped her in the past. She promised it would be the last time she would ask for money. I felt torn. On one hand, I wanted to support my sister on what should be one of the happiest days of her life. On the other hand, I had already decided that I needed to stop enabling her irresponsible behavior. After thinking it over, I told Emma that I couldn't help pay for the wedding. I explained that I had my own expenses to consider and that I didn't think it was wise for them to have an expensive wedding when they were still struggling financially. Emma didn't take my refusal well. She accused me of being selfish and not caring about her happiness. She hung up on me, and I thought that would be the end of it. But a few hours later, I got a call from our parents. They were angry, telling me that Emma had called them crying about my refusal to help. My mom kept saying things like, "You've always been the one she looks up to, you should be there for her." My dad was more direct, accusing me of abandoning Emma when she needed me most. They insisted that I should either help pay for the wedding or give Emma a substantial amount of money to make up for what they couldn't afford. I stood my ground and refused again. I reminded them of all the times I had helped Emma in the past and explained that I thought it was time for her to learn to manage her own life without relying on others to fix everything. My parents didn't take this well at all. They started guilt-tripping me, saying I was tearing the family apart and putting money above family bonds. When I tried to point out how much I had already done for Emma over the years, they dismissed it, saying, "That's what family is for." It's been a few days since that heated conversation with my parents. I haven't heard from Emma directly, but my parents have been sending me long messages expressing their disappointment in me. They've even hinted that if I don't step up and help Emma, they might reconsider their relationship with me. At this point, I'm seriously considering cutting contact with all of them. I'm tired of being made to feel guilty for not constantly bailing my sister out of her self-created problems. I refuse to be manipulated into supporting a wedding that I don't think should be happening in the first place, given their financial situation. I know that family is important, but I'm starting to wonder if maintaining these relationships is worth the constant stress and emotional manipulation. I've spent years trying to be the responsible one, the supportive sister, and the good daughter, but it seems like it's never enough unless I'm willing to sacrifice my own financial stability and principles. Update: when it's been about 2 weeks since my original post, and the situation has taken an unexpected turn. After ignoring my parents' guilt-tripping messages for a while, I thought things might eventually calm down. But then Emma reached out to me again, and what she had to say caught me completely off guard. This time, Emma wasn't asking for money. Instead, she told me that since I wasn't willing to help financially with the wedding, she thought it would be only fair if I stepped aside as her maid of honor. To be honest, after everything that had happened, I wasn't even sure I wanted to be her maid of honor anymore, so this part didn't upset me too much. But then Emma dropped a bombshell. She said she had been talking to our parents and had decided that I shouldn't attend the wedding at all. According to Emma, it would be too awkward for me to be there when I wasn't supporting her financially, and that having me present would make her feel uncomfortable. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that after everything I had done for her over the years, the emotional support, the financial help, the times I'd covered for her with our parents, she would actually disinvite me from her wedding simply because I refused to pay for it. I asked her if she was really serious about this, and she replied that it was for the best, and that I should respect her decision. I ended the call feeling a mix of hurt and anger. I had spent years supporting Emma in various ways, and now, because I wouldn't give her money for her wedding, I wasn't even welcome at the event. It felt like all those years of being there for her meant nothing. After processing what had happened, I decided to call my parents. I thought that surely, they would see how unreasonable Emma was being and back me up. But I was wrong. To my surprise and disappointment, they supported Emma's decision. They told me that it was her wedding and she had the right to decide who she wanted there. They even went as far as to say that if I had just agreed to help out financially in the first place, none of this would have happened. I was at a loss for words. My own parents were siding with Emma, even though her behavior was completely unreasonable. It was as if all the times I had been there for Emma, all the sacrifices I had made, meant nothing to them. I told them that if that's how they felt, then maybe it was indeed better if I didn't attend the wedding. Then I hung up the phone. Since that conversation, I haven't spoken to any of them. The silence has been both a relief and a source of stress. On one hand, I'm glad not to be dealing with their guilt trips and manipulations. On the other hand, I keep replaying our conversations in my head, wondering if I could have handled things differently. I've started to question whether I did the right thing by standing my ground. Logically, I know that I've done more than enough for Emma over the years. I've supported her emotionally, financially, and in every other way I could. I know that it's not fair for them to expect me to keep sacrificing my own financial stability to bail Emma out of her poor decisions. But emotionally, it's hard to accept that my own family is willing to cut me out over this. I never thought things would get this bad. I always believed that no matter what disagreements we had, we would still be there for each other when it really mattered. Now, I'm not so sure. I've been trying to keep myself busy with work and friends, but it's been difficult to focus. My colleagues have noticed that I've been distracted lately, and a few close friends have asked if everything is okay. I've shared bits and pieces of the situation with them, and their support has been invaluable. They've all told me that I'm not being unreasonable and that Emma and my parents are out of line. Still, it's hard to shake off the feeling that I'm somehow letting my family down. Years of being the responsible one and feeling the pressure to keep everything together have left their mark. There's a part of me that wants to give in, to apologize and offer to help with the wedding just to keep the peace. But I know that if I do that, I'll only be enabling Emma's behavior and setting myself up for more financial and emotional strain in the future. I've been considering reaching out to a therapist to help me process all of this. I think it might be helpful to talk to a professional who can offer an objective perspective on the situation and help me develop strategies for dealing with my family's behavior. In the meantime, I'm trying to focus on self-care. I've been making an effort to eat well, exercise regularly, and get enough sleep. I've also been spending more time on hobbies that I enjoy but often neglect when I'm stressed about family issues. It's been a small source of comfort during this difficult time. As for the wedding, I'm still processing the fact that I won't be there. Despite all the drama, a part of me is sad to miss such an important event in my sister's life. I've known Emma her entire life, and even though our relationship has been strained, she's still my sister. Not being there to see her walk down the aisle feels strange and wrong. I'm also worried about the long-term consequences of this situation. Will this be the end of my relationship with Emma? Will my parents continue to take her side in every conflict? How will this affect family gatherings in the future? These questions keep swirling in my mind, but I don't have any answers. For now, I'm taking things one day at a time. I'm trying to stay firm in my decision while also leaving the door open for reconciliation if Emma and my parents are willing to see things from my perspective. But I'm also preparing myself for the possibility that this might be a turning point in our family dynamic, one that changes our relationships permanently. It's a difficult and uncertain time, but I'm doing my best to stay true to myself and my principles. I just hope that someday, my family will understand why I had to take this stand. Update 2: a month has passed since my last update, and I've learned some information that has really put everything into perspective. After being disinvited from the wedding, I tried to distance myself from the whole situation. I threw myself into work, spent more time with friends, and even started a new hobby, painting, as a way to de-stress and process my emotions. However, last week, I ran into one of Emma's close friends at a local coffee shop. We got to talking, and she told me something that left me stunned. Apparently, Emma had been telling people a completely different version of events. She claimed that I had promised to pay for her wedding and then backed out at the last minute, leaving her scrambling to find a new venue and adjust all her plans. I was shocked and angry. Not only was this completely untrue, but it explained why a few of our mutual friends had suddenly become distant or stopped talking to me altogether. Emma had been spreading lies to make herself look like the victim and paint me as the bad guy. After hearing this, I decided I needed to confront my parents about it. I called them, hoping that they would be as surprised as I was by Emma's lies. To my dismay, they weren't surprised at all. They admitted that Emma had told them the same story, and they had believed her without question. I asked them why they hadn't come to me to verify the story or at least hear my side of things. Their response was that they didn't want to get in the middle of it. This felt like a betrayal. They were willing to believe the worst about me without even giving me a chance to defend myself. It was at this moment that I realized there was no reasoning with them. They were always going to take Emma's side, no matter what. Even when presented with clear evidence that she was lying, they chose to stand by her. I told them that if they wanted to believe Emma's lies, that was their choice, but I was done trying to prove myself to them. This conversation was a turning point for me. I decided that I couldn't keep trying to fix a relationship with people who clearly didn't respect me or value what I had done for them over the years. I told my parents that I needed some time and space, and that I wouldn't be in contact with them or Emma for a while. Since that conversation, I haven't spoken to any of them. It's been difficult, especially knowing that Emma's wedding is approaching and I won't be there. But it also feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I'm no longer constantly worrying about Emma's next crisis or how I'm going to navigate family gatherings. I've been focusing on building stronger relationships with my friends and even reconnecting with some extended family members who I had lost touch with over the years. It's been refreshing to spend time with people who appreciate me for who I am, rather than what I can do for them. I've also been reflecting on the patterns in our family dynamic that led to this situation. I've realized that for years, I've been playing the role of the fixer in the family, always stepping in to solve problems and keep the peace. This role has taken a toll on me emotionally and financially, and it's prevented Emma from learning to take responsibility for her own actions. While I still love my family, I've come to accept that sometimes loving someone means setting boundaries and letting them face the consequences of their actions. It's not easy, and there are moments when I second-guess my decision. But overall, I know that this is the healthiest choice for me. As for the future, I'm not sure what it holds for my relationship with Emma and my parents. Right now, I'm focusing on healing and taking care of myself. If they're willing to acknowledge their behavior and make real changes, I might be open to rebuilding our relationship in the future. But for now, I'm learning to be okay with the distance. Update 3: It's been a few months since I cut contact with Emma and my parents, and I found that life has been surprisingly peaceful. I heard through mutual friends that Emma and Tyler got married in a small ceremony at our parents' house. From what I've been told, it was nothing like the lavish event Emma had originally planned. I didn't bother looking at the pictures or reaching out to anyone about it. In the weeks following the wedding, a few mutual friends who attended the ceremony reached out to me. They were shocked to hear the version of events Emma had been telling people, especially after seeing the reality of the small, simple wedding. I took the opportunity to set the record straight with them, explaining what really happened without going into too much detail. I'm grateful that they believed me and understood my side of the story. As for my parents, they haven't tried to contact me since that last conversation when I confronted them about believing Emma's lies. At first, this silence was difficult to deal with. There were moments when I was tempted to reach out, especially during holidays or family birthdays. But as time has passed, I've come to realize that this distance has allowed me to focus on my own life without the constant drama and guilt that often accompanied family interactions. I've come to understand that I was often the one holding the family together, always trying to mediate conflicts and smooth things over. Now that I've stepped back from that role, I can see how much energy it was taking from me. I've been able to invest that energy into my own personal growth and relationships outside of my immediate family. My job has been going well, and I've even received a promotion recently. I've been able to focus more on my career without the distraction of family drama. I've also been spending more time with friends and have even started dating someone new. It's refreshing to be in relationships where I'm not constantly expected to be the problem solver or the responsible one. I've continued with my painting hobby, which has become a great outlet for processing my emotions about the family situation. I've even considered taking some classes to improve my skills further. As for reconciling with my family, I don't see it happening anytime soon. While I'm not completely closing the door on the possibility, I'm also not actively seeking it out. I've realized that for any reconciliation to happen, there would need to be significant changes in how we interact and treat each other. Emma would need to take responsibility for her actions and her lies, and my parents would need to recognize their role in enabling her behavior and dismissing my feelings. For now, I'm at peace with my decision to maintain distance. It's allowed me to break free from unhealthy family dynamics and focus on building the life I want for myself. I've learned valuable lessons about setting boundaries and prioritizing my own well-being. I know that family relationships are complex, and it's possible that someday we might find a way to reconnect on healthier terms. But for now, I'm focusing on the relationships in my life that are positive and supportive. I'm learning that family isn't just about blood relations, but about the people who respect, support, and value you for who you are. As I look to the future, I'm excited about the possibilities that lie ahead. I feel more in control of my life and my choices than I have in a long time. While there are still moments when I feel sad about the situation with my family, I know that I've made the right choice for my own well-being. I'm looking forward to continuing to grow, both personally and professionally, without the weight of toxic family dynamics holding me back.